enough.
Yes.
And in the early church, in the book of Acts, we see the spirit of abundance at work. The early Christians came together, rich and poor, and in their little communities, tiny bubbles of the kingdom of God, everyone had enough. Still today, we wrestle between believing in scarcity or abundance. America is a land of plenty, of limitless potential
I
and
gotta speed this
opportunity.
up.
Wave after wave of immigrants got on boats to come to this new world, this land of abundance. But there have always also been voices of scarcity in America, like everywhere else in the world. Voices that say there isn't enough for everyone. Over the last 70 years, African Americans have achieved huge strides in America, gaining access to education, housing, and jobs. The rising success of the black community has been inspiring. But research done by Michael Norton and Samuel Summers and published in 2011 showed that many white Americans view racism as a zero-sum game. The more they saw discrimination against black Americans decreasing, the more they believed discrimination against white Americans was increasing.
Now, he puts a lot of things in here that I start to look at and go, wait just a minute here. He's making some assumptions from American history that I think are, on its broad brush, absolutely true. There has been a limit or a limiting of or a suspicion of other groups that are gaining success. But I want to be clear about this. And my buddy, Young Patriarch, aka Roy, said this on his show the other day. In America today, the vast numbers of opportunities that are out there for upward mobility and advancement are almost innumerable. And to focus on the discussion of, and I think that this is the crux of a lot of our issues, to focus on the idea of scarcity means that you get a Black Lives Matter or any type of populist group, whether it be a white supremacist group, that can look at resources and say, I'm losing resources that I once had, and I will not be able to recover those resources. That's the whole Make America whatever. Again, there's a portion of that was, I'm losing resources. And even if you think about this from the standpoint of Christians who were like, man, it was much better back in the days, that type of scarcity mentality also filters in the way that we see the gospel and the impact of the gospel. The problem is not that we don't have righteousness anymore. The problem is that the remedy for righteousness is for us to go out and share the unvarnished gospel of Jesus Christ. But the problem that we have in the church, and I'll localize it in the problem in the church, problem in society, is that we don't actually believe that the gospel can actually transform people's lives. That's why we don't have revival. Let's just keep it a buck today. And I just want to be clear about this. If you actually believed that you sharing the message of salvation with people was going to transform their hardened hearts, and that their dead lives were going to become alive, and that they were going to be a new creation, and they were going to have new patterns of life, new patterns of thought, a new desire for righteousness. It's Roku. It's about to turn off here. Hey, don't turn off. I like the backdrop of this TV. Then we would actually go out and share the message. But because, again, scarcity has pervaded us, as black people in a society who begin to look at white people or any people that are out there and say, you've taken away our opportunities both historically and now presently, and so therefore we must with violence react towards you, or with violence of words react towards you, it is absolutely nonsense. You're doing more to cripple the advancement of black people in our society. If your concern is for black people, you belly aching all the time about what you don't have, instead of preparing an opportunity and in preparing a bridgeway for people to get the things that they can have and that they already possess, is crippling the conversation. And so if you're there in the screen, Black Lives Matter, or any of these black supremacy groups that are out there, quit talking that nonsense about the man that is keeping you down, or the white people that are keeping you down, or these historic injustices that have taken place. Note them and then move beyond them. I do not want a titty baby society of black people who are walking around as victims all the time, perpetually, about what they cannot do in this society. This is the freaking United States of America. Let me tell you what you can do. Let me tell you how many jobs are available out there. Let me tell you about how much education is available out there. Let me tell you about mentorship that is available. Let me tell you about churches that are out there. Let me tell you about. So quit belly aching about what you don't have. This conversation about scarcity directly, and I would say specifically, purports to that kind of conversation that black people need to have amongst themselves. If there's any white supremacy groups that are out there, I'm not from that. Obviously, I'm not from that vantage point. But I would just simply say that your hatred of other groups that are out there is because you think your things will be taken away from. So have that discussion amongst yourselves and figure out that with creativity, ingenuity, and God-given ability, we can create more. There's more out there. There's so many mores that are out there, especially with the advancement in technology and collaboration and education. There's so many mores out there. I'm still waiting for technology and things to catch up with the ideas that I have in my head. Every once in a while, I see things that I think, okay, this is on the right track. This is going to make things so much easier for me.